Hello students, welcome to EduSat English Teleteaching program. My dear students, today we are going to discuss a very interesting story about a child, and the name of the story is The Lost Child, and how a child is lost and what happened. Very nicely the great Indian story writer, English story writer Mulak Raj Anand has very beautifully, wonderfully narrated. So, let us see before going to read the story, because this is a non-detailed text, we should not read it in detail. We will be reading, we will be just discussing the summary, and before going to know the story, the summary of the story, let us see something about the writer, right. So, mind your children, now you see the great Indian English writer and the writer of this story, the lost child, Mulak Raj Anand. So, you see Mulak Raj Anand, he is an Indian writer and he was born on 12th December 1905 in Peshawar in India, but now it is in Pakistan. The Peshawar was in India when he was born, but now it is in Pakistan. And date of death, or he died on 28 September 2004 in Pune, in a hospital in Pune. And my dear students, Mulak Raj Anand, he was very famous for his style of depiction, style of description, style of narrating the story. If you read the story, you can find how very wonderfully, nicely he depicts the story, he describes, he narrates the story, right. And his focus is on, especially when he wrote stories, he focused on suppressed, poorer and deprived sections in the traditional Indian society. तेणु भारत रे जेते सबु गरीब लोक, दलित लोक, जो माने विभिन्न सुविधा सुजोगरु who were deprived of different facilities, वंचित होउतिले, से मानक ऊपर से बेसी गप लिखुतिले. And you see how this story is based on such type of family, right. And his notable work, out of his writings, Coolie, Untouchable, The Village, these are very famous novels, and he is considered to be one of the three famous novelists of English novelists of India, right. And notable award, he was awarded Sahitya Academy for English literature, and also he was awarded, he has been awarded Padma Bhushan, right, the most prestigious award of our country, right. So, this is all about the story writer Mulak Raj Anand. Let us see the summary. What is the story? Because it is, again I repeat, this is not a detailed text. So, we should know the story. My dear students, you read the story at home and then you can easily understand the story, and I am just we are going to discuss the story and what happened. Again we will be discussing the comprehension questions. Now, you look at the picture, right, a small child, and they are talking to each other. The child is talking to his parents, his mother and father. So, The Lost Child is an interesting story written by Mulak Raj Anand, who is one of the three famous Indian English novelists. In this story, the Indian writer describes, depicts the role and responsibility of parents, the interest of children for different things and their needs. So, you see two things the writer gives importance in this story. One thing, how the parents should be very much responsible, careful for their children, and the second thing is how small children they are eager or they are interested for different things and what are their needs. So, the parents also should understand the needs of their children. This is the story in which we can see, right. So, let us see the story. The story begins with the setting of a rural village with all enjoyments during the spring festival season and ends with how the presence of parents for a child is the most liking, loving and precious thing of all attractive things in this world, right. So, I have already told you when I talked about the writer, I told you the writer Mulak Rai Chanad, he wrote or his writings were based on or his writings focused on the rural people, the depressed people, the suppressed people, the poorer section, right, the people those who were deprived of different facilities. And this is the story in which you can see how a poor family, they were also very much interested to go to a fair and what happened, right. So, the story begins with the setting of a rural village, गोटे गाँर setting रू आरंभ होइछि दृश्यरू एवं केमती they were very much happy and गपरे देखा होइछि जे प्रकृत रे गोटे बापा मांकर दायित्व कौन कर्तव्य कौन what is the responsibility, what should be the duty of the parents for his or for their children, right, and how the children they need different things and we should also the parents they should also understand the needs of their children, right. Now, you see the story begins. A child with full of joy and happiness goes to a village fair along with his parents during a spring season with hope for a lot of fun and enjoyments. You see, this picture is the picture of the people they are merrymaking. The mother is holding the hand of the child. The parents they are going with their child to a fair, village fair. You know village fair गाँव सु मेला जात्रा हुए विभिन्न प्रकार and the children of the villages they enjoy a lot, they make a lot of fun, right. They play, they move here and there, they buy different things from the fair in the fair, right. And you will see how or what does this child want and what happened to him, right. So, now you see on the way when they were walking to the village fair, on the way to the fair the child comes across many stalls, many shops, stalls displaying a variety of things and toys on the two sides. So, the road runs and on both the sides of the road there were stalls. The child is going, you see, you can see the picture, right. The child is looking at the stalls, right. The child is very much attracted by the sights of a flowering mustard field. जेतबे से जाउची चाल चाल की जाउची सेतबे सेते सुविधा नथिला जो समय गप लेखा जाइची तमे जानतो दिस I have already told you. So, this is the period from the beginning of 19th century till the end of 19th century and there is no scope for the people to move from one place to another like us. Now, we are using our vehicles to move from one place to another. So, during that period when the people they wanted to visit any fair, they had to walk and this child because he is from a poor family, he was walking with his parents and when he was walking he came across different things, different stalls, flowering mustard field, mustard देखिए सोरिष फूल केते सुंदर देखा जाउछि, right. Dragonflies, the flies which they move on the flowers to collect sweet honey from the flowers and you can see also in the picture the mango grove full of flowers, boundary paripurna amba gacha. Beautifully the writer narrates how the child is walking with his parents to the village fair, right. And you see being attracted by the colorful items in the stalls, the wonderful sights of nature, the child stops at every stall to enjoy watching them. But when the parents find the child lagging behind, they keep shouting at him and ask him to move fast along with them At every stall the child wants his parents to buy his liking things, but his mother tries to divert his mind saying, look child, what is before you? You see, the child was from a poor family, the parents were very poor, still then they went to the fair, they are walking, the child was looking at the natural sights, different stalls on both the sides, which were on both the sides of the road. The child was very much attracted to see all these things, and the child wanted to buy some things. ପିଲାଟି କିଣିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଥିଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ବାପା ମା ଦେଇ ପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି। ଯେତେବେଳେ କିଣିବାକୁ ସେ କହୁଛି ଏଇଟା ମୋର ଦରକାର, ଏଇଟା ଦରକାର, ବାପା ମା କହୁଛନ୍ତି, ମା କହୁଛନ୍ତି you see what happens, look child, what is before you, ତ ଆଗରେ କ'ଣ ଅଛି ଦେଖେ। They wanted to divert the mind of the child because they are unable, they did not have money to buy all the things their child wanted to buy, right. And you see next, when the child neared the village fair and saw the footpaths full of people, both his eagerness and fear arose in his mind to see this amusing and wonderful sight for the first time in his life. The child has never seen such type of situation, aguru kebe dekhini se. So when he looks at the fair, it was just like a new world for him, gote nuwa prithvi bhaliya laguchi taku. Then the child watched baskets full of flowers, sweet seller, you see flower, someone is selling flowers, someone is selling sweets, there is a snake charmer, right, you can find the garlands, the flowers with the flower seller. So the child watched baskets full of flowers, sweetmeat seller, varieties of sweets, flower seller, garlands of Gulmohar, a man with a pole of balloons, the snake charmer, merry-go-round and many other attractive things. Sabu dekhuchi, kiniyaku chahunchi, dekhiyaku chahunchi, enjoy kariyaku chahunchi, but cannot because they are very poor. So I have already told you, the writer has focused on the suppressed or the poorer family, how they were living, they wanted to enjoy, but they could not, right. So let us see what happened. The child requests his parents to buy the toys, sweetmeats, flowers, balloons, etc., but in vain felt. The child also knows that his parents would refuse his request and strictly say no to his request. ପିଲା ଜାଣିଛି ମୁଁ ଯାହା କହିଲେ ବି ବାପା ମା କହିବେ ମନା କରିବେ, ନାଇଁ ହେଇପାରିବନି. Still then the child is walking and enjoying all these things, moving from one place to another. At the merry-go-round, right, merry-go-round you see, तुम सब देखिथिबो केमती गिर गिर की बोलंती सब घोड़ा हाथी थाए. So my dear children, you know when you visit different mahotsavas nowadays, से सब मेला होतले भी महोत्सव होउछ, प्रति शहर रे बाजार रे गाँ गहली रे चारियाडे महोत्सव चलिछि. Merry making, the children they are enjoying a lot, and you can also find this type of things, merry go round, चारिपटे गिरी गिरी हेकी पिला माने सब छोट छोट पिला माने हाथी बाघ घोड़ा रे बसी बोलंती. So when the child came to the merry-go-round, the child stops there. He gathers courage to request his parents for a round. ता पूर्वरु किछि कहउनथिला, सेठी भाबिला now I will request my parents to sit, to move in this merry-go-round. But when he looked at his parents, unfortunately he does not find his parents anywhere around him. The child now is very worried when he did not get and his parents are missing. बाप माँ बर्तन हजी गले कोट देखिलानी. He moved here and there, he searches for his parents, running here and there. The child is very much worried, and all his happiness, enjoyments now become zero. Now child is very very sad, right. So we will see what happens then. So dear children, now you see, when he could not get his parents, could not see his parents, he could not find them anywhere, he only utters the words mother and father, mother, mother, father, father, in a loud and furious voice, cried out, मदर मदर फादर बापा बापा माँ माँ बोली जोर पाटी करी बोलला. The child reaches a temple. When he started shouting father and mother, he reaches a temple and he searches for his parents there. मंदिर पाखरे गहली थिला सेठी पहुँच गला, right? But he is almost in danger in the rush of the people there. Then a man lifts him up and saves him from the crowd. So you see, a man is consoling the child is there, right? And he tries to make the child happy by taking the child to the roundabout first, then to other places like the snake charmer, colorful balloons, flowers and offering sweets, etc. But the child does not show any interest in them and cries in a loud voice that he wants only his mother and father. Interestingly, all the things which had so much attraction to the child are now useless and not attractive, not interesting for him because of the missing of his parents. So, my dear students, the man who helped him, the child did not get his parents, did not find his parents, moved here and there and went to the temple gate. The place was very crowded and the child was squeezed there. A man heard the cry, helped him, lifted him and consoled him, tried to convince him, and the man took him from one stall to another, but he did not have any interest. जो जिनस को से प्रथमे रहुला देखुला बापा माँ हजि जावा परे आउ से को जिनस तार सब जिनस पाकु से नेला से राउंड अबाउट पाकु नेला मेरी गो राउंड पाकु ताको आ जमा से कहला आई वांट माय मदर आई वांट माय फादर, राइट. सो when all the things were very much attractive, interesting for a child, all those interesting and attractive things became useless for him without his parents. So, two things: the parents, they are missed, they were not careful, they are not responsible for the child, and again the child who was interested for everything, although he was poor, although he was from a poor family, he did not show any interest to all these things which were very much interesting things for him before that, right. The story ends at this point without telling whether the child gets his parents back or not. Gopata it says Mulak Rajanath, the story writer, ends the story here. The child is crying, moving here and there, the man is helping him, but he is not getting, he is not finding his parents. बापा माँ हजि जाइछन्ति पिला बुलुची पिलार आग्रह कोउथि नाही खाली कहूछि मो बापा माँ दरकार सेतिकरे द स्टोरी एंड्स. इट टीचेस ए लेसन टू द पेरेंट्स दैट दे शुड अंडरस्टैंड देयर चिल्ड्रेन देयर इंटरेस्ट देयर नीड. तीनटा जिंस बापा माँ पिलांकर बुझिबा दरकार, तांकर सुविधा असुविधा जानिबा दरकार, से माने कोन चाहुचन्ति दे शुड बी वेरी मच केयरफुल. एंड गोटे पिला बिकॉज द चाइल्ड लव्स likes his parents too much, ताठु आउ किसी पृथ्वी रो बड़ जिंस नाही, right. So now you see we discussed the summary of this story. This is a non-detailed text, we should not read it in detail, you can read it at home, right. Now the story can be divided into 4 parts. The lost child, the story can be divided into 4 parts. Part 1, on the way, बाटरे जाउछन्ति. पार्ट 2, इन द फेयर. पार्ट 3 ऑल्सो इन द फेयर. पार्ट 4 इन द फेयर. सो किंतु तीन चारिटा जिनस अलगा अलगा देख. द लाइन ऑफ टॉयज ऑन द वे. पार्ट 2, वाचिंग स्टॉल्स, द चाइल्ड इज वाचिंग स्टॉल्स, दुकान गुड़ा देखुछि सब जिनस गुड़ा. पार्ट 3 से कहूछि मोर दरकार सब एट द राउंड अबाउट एंड टेम्पल से केमति हजि जाइछि. And part 4 at the temple and the stalls same se कहूछि जे I do not need all these things, I want my father and mother. आउ चारिटा जिनस देखो, you now see in the black color, come child come. When they were walking to the fair, the parents they were saying come child come. The child was slacking, पछे जाउतला पिला को कहउतला आस बेग्यास बेग्यास. द्वितीय पार्ट रे देछि the child is saying I want this, I want that. मुझे चाहूँ ये मोर दरकार ये दरकार ता बा बुझाऊँ. तृतीय से कहूँ आई बापा माँ कहीकि चित्कार करुच्ची द चाइल्ड इज क्राइंग राइट फादर एंड मदर एंड इन पार्ट 4 चाइल्ड पाखे किसी ना जो सब जिन देखा लोक देखा द मैन इज शोइंग ऑल दिस थिंग्स the attractive things become useless for the child. I want my father, I want my mother. So, for a child nothing in this world is more interesting, more attractive than his parents. ए गपरे मूलक राज सुंदर भाव में वर्णना कर गोटे पिलापाई छोट पिलापाई ता माँ बापा ठारू पृथ्वी आ कौन आकर्षणीय जिनस ना. सो फॉर ए चाइल्ड his father, his mother are very interesting and attractive. That's why the parents should be very careful and responsible for their children, right. So, let us discuss some questions to check our comprehension what we discussed part 1. In the next session we will be discussing part 2, 3 and 4. So, let us see part 1 question number 1. Who are described in the first part of the story? My dear students, when you are reading a story, you should know at least 5 to 6 things. Number 1 thing, you see characters. Who are the characters? किए किए अछंती? Where it happens? कोटि घटिछ? Number 3, when it happens? So, who, where, when, and number 4, why it happened? काहीं घटिला? and result what happens कौन होते भल होता मेसेज कौन ये 5-6 जिन गोटे स्टोरी इम्पोर्टाट. सो हु आर डिस्क्राइब इन द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी द चाइल्ड हिज पेरेंट्स एंड अदर पीपल हु वर वर्किंग और हु वर गोइंग टू द विलेज फेयर. नंबर 2, हाउ आर द पीपल गोइंग टू द फेयर and the story writer beautifully narrates that some people were walking, some people were riding on horses, some people they were going in bamboo and bullock carts. शगड़ से लोक जाऊे कि चलिकी जाऊे घोड़ा जाऊे शगड़ बिकज दैट वाज ए पीरियड राइट एंड देयर वाज नो स्कोप फॉर व्हीकल्स एते आज माने नाउ इट इज वी आर मूविंग फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर बाय इन ए कार और with our vehicles, 2-wheelers like that, right. Number 3, who is the child going to the fair with? The child is going to the fair with his parents, right. And next number 4, who does the writer describe more about in the story? The writer describes more about in the story about the child. Come child come, who said this and why? Yes, very simple, the child's parents. They say come child come, right, and because the child was lagging behind. Question number 6, why did the child lag behind? Because he was very much attracted by the toys and wanted to have them. सब गुड़ाक ताको मजा लगुला देखा किनिया को चाहूला सी तेणु से सब जगार रही जाऊला से डेरी होता, राइट. नंबर 7, what made the child to say I want that toy? Because the attraction of the toys and his desire of heart. He wanted to have it from his heart, right. Every child, when something becomes very attractive, enjoyable, the child wants to have it, and this happens is very usual thing, common thing. What kind of presence in is the father of the child? What kind of person? What kind of person is the father of the child? And I can say he was a strict person. The child is afraid of him. He was afraid of him. भयर किसी कहूला माँ को कहूला, right. He asked his mother, right. What kind of persons was what kind of person was his mother? His mother was very simple, kind, loving and affectionate, right. That's why mother said, oh please look my child, you look ahead, look front. What happens to convince him, right. Look child, what is before you? Who said this and why? So, you see mother said this to divert his mind and to go ahead. So, my dear children, we discussed the summary and we also discussed some comprehension questions of the first part. In the next session, we will be discussing the next 3 parts and comprehension questions for the next 3 parts. It is now time to say goodbye. Thank you very much. See you in the next session.